productivity, winning strategies, and aligning employer-employee goals. If this sounds like something your business could use more of, then you've come to the right place. The Business Mechanic Show with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. Let Vaughn show you how to develop, improve, and jumpstart your business. So now, please welcome the host of The Business Mechanic, Vaughn Sigmund.
Welcome to the Business Mechanics Show. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, where the name of the game is growth. I'm the co-founder of Results-Driven Leadership. And if you want to learn more about the Results-Driven Leadership experience, visit us at rdltraining.com, where we offer the essential tools and expertise to help you achieve exponential growth and take your management success to all new heights. Our expert executive-led guidance will empower you to establish a culture of progress and unleash your company's full potential to where you can achieve success at a far faster pace. All that said, let's get into today's podcast. In this episode, I'm going to reveal to you the secrets behind the astonishing way you can get, as a manager, a business owner, an executive, a 20% increase in productivity with your team. And along with that 20% increase in productivity, you'll get a subsequent surge in employee well-being. They're going to be engaged. They're going to love life. They're going to love you. They're going to love working there. Sounds like a big promise, doesn't it? So come on, join me today, and we're going to explore some innovative strategies that I've come up with, some enlightening leadership and forward-thinking practices that I know, where it gets applied, have ushered in a whole new era of workplace dynamics, where there's a fostering of harmonious efficiency and fulfillment. So get ready. In today's episode, we're going to learn how you, as a business owner, executive manager, can develop the best practices for how a positive and empowering workplace environment will drive the performance, the productivity of your team to all new heights and blow your growth right up. We're going to unlock that door for you today. We'll unlock your future, unlock your future success. But I'm going to start with a couple data points, as I often like to use. And I've said this many times before. This may be the first time you've heard it from me. There's a crisis developing in workplaces all across America. And once again, according to my best resource at Gallup, employee engagement continues to drop. It continues to get worse and worse. It's all new low in 2022. Only 1/3, 30%, it's actually less than 30% of the employees, workers surveyed feel that they are engaged, that they care about their job. And about 1/5 of them, almost 20%, are actively disengaged. That's the quiet quitters, friends. So you've got 70%, likely 70% of everybody working for you as a manager, business owner, executive, that is at some level of disengagement. They don't like their work. And 20% of that 70% are disengaged, and they're creating a whole lot of dysfunction in your organization. Now, let's talk about Gallup's measure of engagement. It's made up of several elements. I use Gallup as an employer for years and years. I follow their best practices with all of my clients. And to give you a little flavor of what Gallup looks at, let me talk to you a little bit about some of the elements that they're measuring to rate employee engagement, the ones that have declined the most. clarity of expectations, or I know what's expected of me, clear goals, clear expectations set for them. That's one of the big elements of an engaged workforce, and it's also one of the elements that has eroded and has led to this epidemic that we have in disengagement. So clarity of expectations, opportunity to learn and grow. Do your employees feel like that they have the opportunity to learn and grow, get ahead? You hear about this all the time, how important that is, but have you put that in practice within your organization? Does your employee base or does your workforce have the true ability to learn and grow? And what does that even mean? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Do they have a connection to the purpose of the company? Do they feel connected to the company? Do they understand that what they do affects the company and how it affects the company? How are they aligned? How does what they do each day align with the company's mission and goal? Do you have a mission and goal? If you don't have one, you need one. It's mandatory. And once you have one, you need to cascade that and talk about it on a regular basis with all your employees, because they're telling you that they're not connected to that part of your organization, is likely because it doesn't exist. It's the rare company I find when I first become engaged with them, when they first hire me, that has that in place. And it seems so fundamental, maybe even non-necessary. Believe me, it's necessary for the reasons I'm about to explain to you. Here's another one of those measures that Gallup looks at is, does the employees have the opportunity to do what they do best every day? Opportunities to do what they know they're best at every day. What does that mean? Well, it means, have you taken somebody that has a certain set of strengths and abilities and put them into a position or job that leverages those strengths and abilities? Are they doing what comes naturally well to them? If you're frustrated with somebody not doing their job, being poor at their job, underperforming, it's likely because you have them misplaced. And we'll talk a little bit more about how you avoid that. And it comes in 4 letters, DISC, which I beat like a dead horse. But gosh almighty, it is one of the most important tools a company can use to understand, do I have people in the right place in my organization? Without it, it's a good guess. And the 4th one, we're going to dwell a little bit more, or the last one, we're going to dwell a little bit more on this one today, is feeling cared about at work. Does their boss or someone at work care about me as a person? And what does that mean? Do you have a relationship with your employees? Do they know who you are? Do you stop and talk to them on a regular basis? Do you manage by walking around? Do you have empathy? Do you display empathy? Do you really care and display that care about their success? No, I'm not telling you to be a marriage counselor. I'm not telling you to be a life coach. I'm telling you, you need to show that you care about people. That's not too much to ask, but I gotta tell you, in a very command and control dominated world, and as things get tougher, more command and more control comes into the management approach of many people, and it's the opposite of what you should be doing. Opposite. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Employee engagement's been falling for a while. It took a bigger drop in 2021. That's when you started hearing about the Great Resignation. That's when that term was coined. It's that phenomenon of people leaving their jobs in droves. There was a huge amount of turnover. And you coupled that with what Gallup just told us, it starts making a lot of sense. Disengaged employees are more likely to quit. And the main reasons for driving that trend where employees are not feeling valued by their organization. And when I say organization, let's just cut down to what it is. They don't feel valued by their boss. People join companies and they quit bosses. So bosses, you're likely listening to this podcast trying to find a way to get better at what you do. Listen to me today. I practiced this for over a decade in my corporate life. I've taught dozens and dozens, hundreds of leaders and managers the importance of this and how to apply these best practices, the value and the importance of all this. Listen to me today. Take notes and start deploying some of the things, getting yourself dug into some of the things I'm going to talk about today, and you will start seeing a 20% improvement. And that may be at a minimum in productivity in your team. And in the byproduct of that, your life just became easier. Good Lord, what a combination. Your life got easier and productivity went up. It's a win-win, folks. And they are disengaged and they're not doing their job because of you. And you're missing some element that they need, which goes back to knowing what's expected of me, feeling cared about, being able to learn and grow, doing what I do best. Those are the foundational elements of them really caring about their job, caring about you, caring about doing well at work, feeling like they have a future, that they have a connection. It's all simple stuff. And put all you want to, and you're blowing it. You're blowing it. Your life will be infinitely easier if you embrace this. Get your arms around this, get dug into it, and understand those are the foundational elements of being a good leader, a good boss. And the outcome is your folks will work harder, will work better, 20% better productivity. They will leave less. You will have to train less. You will have to hire less, and you're growing. You're growing as an individual. You're growing as a team. You're growing as a company. And this is not hard. In fact, it is all freaking free. All you have to do is deploy it. And always remember, they're leaving you if you have some turnover. They're not working hard because of you. They work for a boss, not for a company. 54% of these employees surveyed name the manager for the reason why they quit. 52% the manager doesn't feel, or I don't feel like the manager cares about me. Those sort of things are free, easy. You just have to have a level of empathy to deploy it. You end up eliminating quiet quitters, that 20% that are actively disengaged, that goes away. That goes away. And you can control it. It's not them, it's you. Own that. And one popular best practice, it's a solution, especially if you're working in a hybrid or a remote environment right now. One of the solutions or approaches that many companies decided to take is surveillance software. Because command and control. Bad move, folks. That kind of micromanagement breeds resentment. Is that really what you want your employees thinking about? You think you're in control with having this kind of software so that you're tracking what they're doing, whether they're wasting your time in your payroll all day. Believe me, they're going to do it. They're going to waste your time and waste your payroll, but not because of them, because of you. It's a violation of trust. It creates stress. In fact, 60% of those employees who had this as part of their way of being managed, and this is just the way that today's world works, you can't change it. You have to adapt to it. 66% of those who were surveyed reported feeling stress and anxiety because of this stupid software that you think are going to make things better. It's not. It's making things worse. Stop it. Please. You're making things hard on yourself, not easier. Get rid of command and control. The other thing too, goal setting, feedback, professional, personal development, making sure they understand opportunities, and most of all, autonomy. There's a lot of smart people working for us out there. Give them the opportunity to learn and grow. Let them be more independent. And you know how to do that? Here's the solution. It comes down to one thing. Stop being a manager and start being a coach. Stop being a manager and start being a coach. I'm going to explain that. Think about this. If your organization came in one morning and said, okay, all you managers, you're gone. I'm replacing all of you with coaches. And let's just say for every 6 employees, they brought in a coach, a well-trained coach, not a manager, a coach. And these coaches have one very clear job to do. Help their employees, not command, not demand, not manage, but help their employees be as productive as possible. And by doing so, the outcome is going to be those employees are going to achieve more. And if you were, as a coach, you took off your manager hat, put on your coach hat. You started spending less time commanding and controlling and started spending more time mentoring, giving feedback, being encouraging, identifying how these folks work best, getting them into the right position that meets their strengths, their needs. Make sure they're offered training. Make sure you're supporting them in their professional development. You're going to be wildly successful. And it's easier. It's much more fulfilling. But there's such a small percentage of managers out there to ever even think like this. Let me help them do their jobs. Let me help develop them to be better at what they do. Let me encourage them. Let me make sure they're in the right place. I'm going to constantly be giving them training. I'm going to support that training. They're going to have clear goals and missions. I'm going to be supporting them, not micromanaging them. The outcome is tremendously different. See, managers and coaches. The same thing about managers and coaches is they're the first port of call when problems arise. When there's a challenge, when there's a situation, there's a question, they're going to go to their manager. Now they're going to go to their coach because you managers have just all been replaced. But when they go to their coach, instead of directing them, telling them what to do, how to do it, the coach focuses on empowering and supporting and helping the employee find the way forward, help them solve their own problem, help them learn to think rather than what to think. How do you think you should solve that problem? What's a way that you might think would work? Who else might be able to help you with this? What are your ideas around this? Well, I don't have time for all that BS. Listen, you're creating more BS than you're solving by being a micromanager. Guarantee you. When you embed a culture of self-improvement deep into the way you lead people, your staff, your team will have the emotional bank account filled and brimming and wanting to walk through walls for you. When you put productivity at the heart of how you're approaching things, and you're approaching it as a coach, how do I help them learn to be more productive? They're going to feel more connected to their mission. They're going to feel more connected to you. They're going to care more. And when they care more, they achieve more. Your customers will love it. And certainly your business outcomes will benefit from this. If you introduced yourself tomorrow as a coach, you left your manager hat at home, you will have such a tremendous impact, positive impact on both the terms of engagement and productivity. I promise you, it's not hard to do. It's hard to change. It's hard to change your habits for however many months or years you've been owning a business, leading a business, managing a business. You've got to unlearn some of that. Your natural instincts and habits are going to be difficult to change. Starts with your mindset. And I think the first mindset you have to change is away from doubt to trust, away from being the encyclopedia of all answers, just being a support, just being a helper. That's going to have great impact. Help them learn to think, not what to think. You'll find that people are out sick less. Your employee turnover will drop. This whole great resignation thing will end. And I promise you, at a minimum, your productivity will go up by 20%. It's not easy sailing. There's going to be some kinks you're going to have to iron out. Learning to be a coach means I have to learn to ask questions and listen. I have to have an open mind versus a closed mind. I have to approach things in a way that helps them figure it out rather than figuring it out for them. Hard to change those habits. You need to ask a lot of open-ended questions, not closed-end questions. That may be, of all the simple little things to learn, that's the hardest of all of them, because you're so used to the way you've been doing things. Who, what, where, how, why. Open and tell me more. What do you think? Share with me your thoughts. What ideas do you have? How else could we approach that? It's a different approach. That's the coaching hat, not the manager hat. And it's going to take some time for you to figure it out. But if you're committed to making your life easier and more successful at the same time, I promise you it's worth it. The gains will be significant, and you'll be moving forward at rapid speed. So think about all that. Think about all that and what you need to be changing about yourself. It's not them that needs to change. It's how you approach them that needs to change. That's the difference maker. That is such a subtle but significant change in mindset. For them to change, you have to change. For them to care, you have to care. You have to become a coach versus a manager. And anything you're doing that breaks the level of trust, I call it removing the barrier of trust. You need to figure a way around it. See, I truly believe, and call me a fool, call me whatever, I don't care. But I believe that almost everyone working for, I said almost, there's some psychopaths out there. There's certainly a few laggards, but you hired them. I think there's goodness in everybody. I don't think people get up in the morning, get dressed and go to work to do a crappy job. I think they want to do a great job, but they want to do it for you. Give them the ability to want to do it for you. And in order for them to feel that way, you have to change your way so that they understand how much you care, how much you trust, and be supportive of them, train them, mentor them, engage them, give them autonomy. And once again, I think this is the fourth time I've said it. Teach them how to think, not what to think. Another big barrier you're going to have to get around is this self-limiting thought. It's my wife, the life coach, coming out in me. It's that self-limiting thought. Oh, this is going to take too long. I move at a rapid pace. You know why you have to move at a rapid pace all the time? Because your folks don't know how to think for themselves. They're not problem solving. They're not thinking things through. They do not have critical thinking skills. Why? Because you haven't allowed them to. You are like a drug to them. It's easy. We like easy. We like to pop a pill. We like to pop open a package and have a pre-made lunch. We don't like to cook. That home-cooked meal is way better than something comes out of a package. My belief. So in your case, you're going to slow down a little bit. You're going to slow down your approach, but in the end, you're going to speed up. You're going to speed up tremendously. Things are going to get better and easier for you. If you slow down a little bit, think about being a coach versus a manager, which will equate you becoming a very effective leader. And if you want to know more about this, I'll put a link in the show notes. How to coach a winning team, my course on how to coach a winning team. It gives you everything you need to learn how to be a coach versus a manager, including all the questions you need to start working into your dialogue. It's called the Socratic approach to coaching. The Socratic approach to coaching. I'll give you all the Socratic questions. Practice them, use them as a script. And that's okay if you have to read them off. Say, hey, folks, I'm trying to figure out a better way to be a leader. Give me a minute. I need to find the right question here. It's okay. They're going to love you for it. Change you to change them. That's all I got to say today. And by the way, listen, I would be remiss. Check out the course. I promise you it'll be very beneficial to you. Secondly, if you're wondering whether you got the right people in the right seat, in the right job in your organization, you need a competency-based framework within your organization. Now, that's a real complicated sounding thing. It's really very simple. What are their strengths? And do I have them working in a position that matches their strengths? If they're failing, they're likely in a bad position based on their natural skill sets, not something that's wrong with their job. They're not doing a bad job. They're just in a wrong job. They need a DISC profile. You need a DISC profile. They need a disc profile. Reach out to me. The link, as always, is in the show notes to get a free disc for yourself. Let us go through, let Eric, my partner in this business, go through this disc profile with you. He will open your ears and open your eyes to what all this means, how powerful it is, so that then you can start investing the dollars to apply the disc profiles to your team, uncover their strengths, their behaviors. You'll know how to communicate better with them. You'll know how you communicate, how your communication clashes with them, what you need to do to adopt or adapt to a better communication style. Again, this all leads to your life being way easier and much more productive. So take advantage of it. Visit us at RDL Training. There's a link on our website for a free DISC assessment. And I'll also put a link in the show notes for you to acquire one for yourself. Please take advantage of it. So, how to coach a winning team, free DISC assessment, those two things will get you off on a marvelous start to all this. And it could be, in all likelihood, the launch to your next big level of success. It's a game changer, my friends. Thanks for listening to me today. Visit us at RDL Training. That's Romeo Delta Lima Training.com. Follow me on LinkedIn. Please share, subscribe to this podcast. That helps our algorithm through Spotify or Apple or whoever you're listening to us through, and helps more people find us. Please help us help more people. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast. All that said, thanks for joining me today, and we'll talk to you all again next week.